We basically were just talking one day about, what are we going to do this year? And I just happened to think about, how can we replicate the events, exactly the way that we experienced them for the kids. And I myself was a student, a senior at Hillsborough. So I thought, what better way than to just put it exactly how I experienced it, meshing up with the regular school schedule.
We have several different choices for them, and they can go through and they can read personal stories from that day, including those of children who lost their parents, and just the overall perspectives of lots of different voices and ages and experiences.
So much of what we do in history is reading over different things, or the things that we do get to watch are recreations or re-dramatizations. So the fact that we actually get to see this history firsthand or as a live experience, I think it provides a unique take that we don't often get the chance to do in history. So I think that helps kind of create that experience that kids are going to remember in years moving forward.
I think it's getting more and more difficult as the years go on because when you first started teaching about 9/11, obviously kids were alive and they remembered, and then all of a sudden they were barely born and they learned about it from their parents, and now you've got kids who have no physical connection to it, and so I think it gets harder to really portray the gravity of the situation, and that's why I love this idea, because it does give them an opportunity to get those goosebumps and to get that kind of feeling in their stomach, like what's going to happen, even though they know. But I was really surprised this morning at the amount of students who had never seen any part of any of it. And so, that really made me glad that we were able to bring that to them then.
I wanted to see the kids they can't wait to get to their next hour because the video was just playing live. And so when the bell rang, it was up to them. Do you want to make the choice to get to your next class as fast as possible so you can see the continuation of the events? And we saw a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And we also saw, my first hour, the same feeling I had, even though I've already experienced the video, I experienced it live, of the planes hitting the tower, kids visually, and you could physically see them gasp and move. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what we were looking for, was them to feel the impact. And a lot of it, personally motivating us the way we wanted to portray 9/11 is we are now teaching the generation of children who are the children of the veterans who were the ones to go and respond to the events of 9/11. And I think that is unique because many of these boys and girls have mom and dads at home or brothers and sisters who were our direct force in response to this. And they really don't even know how to talk to them about it because their parents who are veterans may not talk to them about what they experienced or why they were even doing it. And now the kids have a little bit of understanding of why mom and dad might have joined, or maybe they were in the military and their future just got altered majorly. So
my kids were asking some great questions, and even when I was sitting in the hallway between classes and they were moving, they were walking and talking about it as they were walking to their next class. They had really great questions, and in one of my classes they even were talking about how did the terrorists get into the cockpit of the airplane? And it's well, they didn't have doors then. You could just walk in, and they never have lived in that world of having to show your ID and go through security and take your shoes off, and that's the only world they know. And so they were surprised that, and they said box cutters, and they were how did they get on an airplane with a box cutter? My dad gets his pocket knife taken away, and it's well, you used to be able to do those things. That's why it all stopped. It's neat to see them talking about the comparisons, they're realizing the comparisons of the world that we grew up in compared to the world that they're growing up in.
It was emotional, and we hadn't seen it like this before, so it was really touching and emotional because our parents had gone through it, but we hadn't.
It's crazy to think that someone has the audacity to take people's lives.
I was definitely sad inside, but then at the same time I was really happy because I was thinking about all of the firefighters and police officers and heroes that were out there, and they were going out there to basically risk their lives to save other people. But then at the same time, it was very sad because lives were risked and lives did die.